I have to admit, I've been staring at this one question in our notes for about 20 minutes, and it's actually starting to annoy me.
Which one? The one about ownership.
Yeah. Do you own your voice? And then it just keeps going, do you own your name? Do you own your body? And my immediate, my knee-jerk reaction is to get defensive.
Hmm.
I just want to slam my hand on the table and say, yes, obviously, it's my hand. I'm moving it. I pay the gym membership to keep it working. It's mine.
It's a visceral reaction, isn't it? It feels like someone is trying to, I don't know, repossess your very existence.
Exactly. It feels like an infringement. But then I started reading through this material, specifically this piece, The Exquisite Comedy of the Personal Self, and I realized my defensiveness is exactly the point.
Right.
The text is almost baiting us into that reaction so it can pull the rug out.
It is a bit of a trap, but, it's not a malicious one. The source material, which kind of blends insights from Alison McLean with this commentary from Chadali, frames the whole thing as a comedy. Yeah, it's not trying to steal your body from you. It's trying to get you to see the humor and how tightly you're gripping onto it.
Comedy isn't the first genre I'd pick for existential deconstruction of my identity. I think I'd go with, psychological thriller or maybe even horror.
I get that.
Yeah.
But let's look at the core premise here.
Yeah.
McLean says, I think the humor thing is we think we own our voice, our name, our body, yet all just experiences in being human.
Just experiences. That's the key phrase right there.
That's the wedge. It separates the possessor from the event.
But that's a really hard separation to make, practically speaking. I mean, walk me through the logic here, because my brain just keeps snapping back to, I am this body.
Okay, let's try an analogy. Let's look at the difference between possession and, say, occupancy. If you rent an Airbnb for a week, you have a key.
Right.
You sleep in the bed. You cook in the kitchen. If someone walks in uninvited, you have the right to kick them out. You have agency. But do you own the house?
No, of course not. I'm just occupying it.
And because you know you don't own it, you have a totally different relationship with it. If a pipe bursts, it's a hassle, sure, but it's not a reflection of your soul. You just call the landlord.
Okay.
McLean is suggesting that we are the occupants of the body, not the landlords. But we've forgotten we're renting.
So we've been squatting for so long, we think we own the deed.
Precisely. And the text argues that this confusion, this kind of cosmic case of mistaken identity, is where a lot of our suffering comes from. And also, interestingly, where the humor is.
Okay, I can sort of squint and see the Airbnb analogy for the body, maybe. But the text goes further. It talks about the mind trap. This is the part that really tripped me up.
Right.
HLA breaks down the sequence. The voice rises, the name is spoken, the body moves, and we call it mine.
It's the speed of it that matters. It happens in a nanosecond. There's a biological event, a sensation, a sound, a movement, and then instantly the mind just stamps a copyright symbol on it. Man.
But isn't that necessary, though? I mean, if I touch a hot stove, I need to know it's my hand burning, not just a hand burning, or I won't move it.
That's a survival mechanism, for sure.
Mm.
But the text is talking about the psychological overlay on top of that.
Okay.
Let's look at the examples it gives, because they're a bit harder to argue with, like the breath comes unasked.
Okay, fair enough. I'm not sitting here commanding my diaphragm to contract. It's on autopilot.
It's more than autopilot. It's an autonomous system.
Yeah.
If you had to consciously manage your breath like, okay, inhale now.
Okay.
Okay, oxygen exchange. Okay, exhale. You wouldn't have time to do anything else.
You'd never sleep.
You couldn't. The body breathes itself.
So I'm not the CEO of the breast department. I'm just the guy sitting in the office listening to the air conditioning hum.
You're the witness. And it's the same with thoughts. The text says the thoughts appear on their own timing.
See, now this is where I want to push back a little, because if I don't own my thoughts, then I'm not really responsible for them. And that just sounds like a cop-out.
Well, hang on.
Sorry I said that mean thing. The thought just appeared.
Let's distinguish between the appearance of a thought and the action you take based on it. Have you ever tried to meditate? Or even just sat in a quiet room for a few minutes?
I have. And usually it's a total disaster.
Fine.
Because my brain just will not shut up. It starts listing groceries or remembering an embarrassing thing I did in 1998 or singing a commercial jingle from my childhood.
Exactly. Did you ask for the commercial jingle? Did you summon that embarrassing memory on purpose?
Definitely not. I was actively trying to be peaceful.
So who is generating those thoughts? If you were the owner and manager of your mind, you could just say, quiet, please, and it would be silent.
Right.
The fact that you can't stop the chatter proves you aren't the one generating it. You're just the space where it's all happening. The text calls this weather across the sky.
That's humbling and a little disturbing. It implies my entire internal monologue, the thing I consider to be me, is just a weather pattern I have no control over.
It's a climate system. Some days it's sunny, some days it's stormy. You don't blame the sky for a thunderstorm, but we blame ourselves for stormy thoughts. We think, I shouldn't be thinking this. What's wrong with me?
When we should just be saying, oh, look, thunder.
That's the idea. And
Yeah.
that's the softness the source mentions, right? We can feel the softness in that noticing.
Yeah.
It's letting yourself off the hook for being human.
Shifting from the controller to the noticer.
Exactly. And that leads us to probably the most visually entertaining metaphor in the whole piece. The costume.
Yes. Consciousness wearing a costume and forgetting it put it on. I love that one.
It's a classic comedic trope, isn't it? The case of mistaken identity. The prince who thinks he's the pauper. We are this vast awareness, the thing that notices the breath, that notices the thoughts, but we've become so obsessed with the character we're playing that we think the costume is our actual skin.
It's method acting. We've gone full Daniel Day-Lewis. We're so deep in the role of the host or the expert or whatever that we genuinely forget it's just a role.
And that's why the text calls it the exquisite comedy. It's not a tragedy that we're trapped. It's a joke that we're playing on ourselves. But to really get the punchline, we have to look at the three things the text deconstructs.
The voice, the name, and the body. But it's also kind of, scientifically rigorous. First, the voice.
The voice is sound passing through air.
Which is just physics, vibration. But I attach so much of my identity to my voice. If I hear a recording of myself, I cringe. I say, that's not me.
Which is funny because the recording is actually more accurate to what everyone else hears.
Yeah.
But think about it. The voice is just wind moving over vocal cords. It's an instrument. You don't say the violin is the music.
No, it produces the music.
Right. You are using the instrument, but you aren't the sound itself.
Okay, I can kind of give you the voice. It's temporary, it fades. But the name, that feels a lot stickier. My name is how I navigate the world. It's on my ID.
The text calls the name a shared agreement.
A shared agreement? Like a currency?
Exactly like a currency. A name is a utility. It's a sound other people make to get your attention.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. How often do you actually use your own name?
I mean, basically never. Unless I'm introducing myself to someone.
Right. Your name is for other people. It's a label on a jar. If you peel the label off, the contents of the jar don't change. The jam is still jam.
But we defend the label so fiercely. If someone mispronounces our name or forgets it, we feel diminished.
Because we think the label is the jam.
Okay, now we have to get to the big one. This is the one I really struggled with in the prep, the body. The text describes the body as earth arranged for a while.
It's a beautiful phrase.
It is beautiful, sure, but it also makes me feel a bit, I don't know, insignificant. Earth arranged for a while. It sounds like I'm a well-organized pile of dirt.
Well, let's just look at the biology.
Mm-hmm.
Where did the physical matter of your body come from?
Food, water, air.
And where did that food come from? The soil, the sun. The water comes from the rain, which comes from the oceans. Every single atom in your body right now was once something else.
Right.
The carbon in your muscles was once in a plant or a star or, a dinosaur.
Oh, come on. Don't tell me I'm made of dinosaur parts.
You almost certainly are. And in another 100 years, those same atoms will be part of a tree or a cloud or someone else's great-grandchild. We are literally a temporary arrangement of recycled materials.
We're a recycling project.
It is. We are borrowing the dust. We organize it into this complex shape. We walk it around for 70 or 80 years. We pump blood through it, and then the arrangement just breaks down and the dust goes back to the pile.
When you put it that way, claiming this is mine does seem pretty ridiculous. It's like standing in a river, cupping your hands full of water and screaming, I own this water.
And then getting depressed when the water inevitably flows out through your fingers. That's the human condition.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to freeze a river.
But, and this is the major but, for me, if I'm just a river or a cloud or a pile of borrowed dust, why does it hurt so much when I pinch myself?
Ah, yes. The paradox of intimacy.
Right. Because I can sit here and intellectually agree with you about atoms and carbon cycles, but if I stub my toe, all the philosophy goes right out the window. It feels personal. It feels incredibly, undeniably real.
And the text doesn't deny that. This is so crucial. It's not saying the experience isn't real. It's saying the ownership is the illusion. It says, and still it feels intimate. It feels personal. That's the beauty of it.
It calls it beauty.
It describes us as the vastness experiencing the closeness of a single point.
Okay, That is a dense sentence. The vastness experiencing the closeness of a single point. Help me unpack that a little.
Imagine you are the universe. Vast, infinite, timeless. You have no boundaries. But because you have no boundaries, you can't really experience anything specific. You can't feel the texture of a velvet chair. You can't taste a lemon.
You can't feel the sting of a stubbed toe.
Right. Because you're everything, so you're nothing in particular. So to have an experience, the vastness has to narrow down. It has to funnel itself into a single point. It has to become you. It has to put on the costume.
So the limitation is the whole point. The fact that I'm trapped in this fragile, temporary Earth arrangement is what allows me to feel things at all.
Yes.
Yeah.
The text says this feeling of intimacy is not wrong, not mistaken, just exquisitely immersed. Think about it like a movie. If you're watching a movie and you keep remembering you're just sitting in a dark theater looking at a screen, you aren't really in the movie.
Right, I'm detached. If I'm just looking at the pixels, I'm not going to cry at the sad scene.
To cry at the sad scene, you have to forget the screen. You have to forget the theater. You have to become the character. You have to be exquisitely immersed.
So we've tricked ourselves into this on purpose.
In a way.
Yeah.
We've forgotten who we really are, the vastness, so we can fully experience what it's like to be who we seem to be.
Yeah.
The person.
That actually changes the tone of the comedy for me, makes it feel less like a mockery and more like, I don't know, a love story, or at least something very tender.
The text uses that exact word.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's the quiet humor, that nothing is owned, yet everything is experienced so tenderly as if it were ours.
Tenderly as if it were ours. Wow, that kills me. It's like, okay, imagine you're house sitting for a friend. A really nice house with a beautiful garden. You don't own it. You have no claim to it. But while you're there, you water the plants. You sweep the floor. You fix the squeaky hinge. You care for it as if it were yours.
That's the sweet spot. That's the balance the text is aiming for. Most of us just swing between two extremes. Either it's, I own this, I must defend it with my life, which leads to all this stress and ego.
Or we go to the other side. None of this is real. Nothing matters. I'm just a pile of dirt.
Both of which are pretty miserable ways to live. But the exquisite comedy is the middle path. I don't own this, but I am going to care for it tenderly while I'm here. It's the difference between clutching a bird in your hand so tight you crush it and just holding it open-palmed.
So practically speaking, how does this change my Tuesday? Because I still have to pay my bills. I still have to answer to my name when my boss calls. I can't just tell him, sorry, that's just a shared agreement I'm no longer participating in.
Please don't do that. You still need to chop wood and carry water, as they say. But it changes the internal reaction. The text talks about watching it happen from within the happening itself.
Watching it happen from within the happening.
It's about creating a micropause, a tiny sliver of distance. When the boss yells or the bills pile up, you still feel the stress. You feel the stomach tighten. But instead of saying, I am stressed, you can just notice, stress is happening. The body is reacting.
It uncouples the event from the identity.
And that's where the smile comes in. The title is The Exquisite Comedy. When you catch yourself getting all worked up, getting defensive, falling into that mind trap, instead of beating yourself up, you just smile. You spot the costume.
You realize your method acting too hard again.
Exactly. You say, oh, look at the character getting angry. Look at the little earth arrangement getting all heated up.
It feels like a relief. That's the main emotion I'm landing on now at the end of this. It's not funny, haha. It's funny. The burden of having to hold the universe together, of having to be the architect of my own destiny, it's just exhausting.
It is exhausting.
Yeah.
And it's false. You aren't holding it together. The breath happens. The cells regenerate. The thoughts float by. The universe is holding you.
That is a much nicer way to look at it.
It's that softness Chedali mentioned. When you finally stop gripping, you can feel the softness.
So for everyone listening, here is the mission. Should you choose to accept it, and, assuming you have any choice at all and aren't just a biological automaton,
A fair caveat.
try to catch the mind trap today. Just once. Maybe you spill coffee or someone cuts you off in traffic. Just watch the reaction. Watch that, how dare they do this to me, voice rise up.
And just label it. Weather, costume, old habit.
And see if you can find that little smile. The smile of the tenant who knows the broken window isn't really their problem, but they'll fix it anyway because, hey, they live there.
Beautifully put.
Before we go, I want to leave you with one final thought that the text kind of hints at. And it's one of those thoughts that might keep you up tonight, but in a good way.
The ultimate question.
We've spent this whole time talking about what you are not. You aren't the voice. You aren't the name. You aren't the body. You aren't the thoughts. You are the one watching all of those things.
You are the witness.
But if you turn the camera around, if you are the one watching the happening from within the happening, who or what is actually doing the watching?
And that is the mystery we never solve, only experience.
Keep looking. Thanks for being here with us.
Take care.